Overnight, the queen of talk lending her star power to boost Kamala Harris and get out the vote, hoping to reach the critical sliver of voters that will determine this race.
Please welcome Kamala Harris!
In a highly produced virtual rally, Oprah trying to harness enthusiasm for Harris and keep her momentum going, urging Americans to vote their values.
Let me tell you, it is about character, and it's about decency and respect and all the things that we were raised to believe about what it means to be an American citizen and pursue the American dream.
Harris doing something she rarely does, fielding questions directly from voters about the issues top of mind for them, from immigration to the cost of living to reproductive rights.
The former president chose 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would overdo the protections of Roe v. Wade. And they did as he intended.
Speaking out for the first time, the family of Amber Thurman, the 28-year-old mother who was reportedly the first publicly known woman to lose her life as a result of Georgia's abortion ban.
You're looking at a mother that is broken.
Oh, God.
The worst pain ever that a mother, that a parent could ever feel.
According to ProPublica, after a medical abortion, Amber suffered from a grave infection, but doctors waited 20 hours to operate. By then, it was too late.
I'm just so sorry. The word over and over again in her mind is preventable.
Yes.
Yeah.
So is she on death's door before you actually decide to give her help?
That's the problem.
Is that what we're saying?
Yeah.
And on the issue of gun violence, Oprah noting Harris herself is a gun owner.
I'm a gun owner. Tim Walz is a gun.
I did not know that.
If
And I thought
somebody
that was
breaks in
powerful.
my house, they're getting shot.
Yes, yes, I hear that. I hear that.
Probably should not have said that.
But
My staff will deal with that later.
God, that was good. Did anybody watch that? Anybody in this audience watch that thing last night? That was so good. That was so good. Kamala Harris, United for America. Oh, and you know, that was definitely produced by Oprah's production company, Harpo. There's no question. It looked like the Oprah show. I mean, the audience and the cutaways and the crying, everyone was hysterical crying in that audience, because when you're talking about the Supreme Court's decisions, when you're talking about the economy, when you're talking about COVID or any of the mismanagement that had occurred under the you-know-who Orange Jesus administration, it's a sad, sad story. It's hideous. It's ugly. It's horrible. And, man, I tell you, it's just getting worse. You know, I watched that, and I actually was I watched it on my computer. I was sitting there with a smile on my face, slammed ear to ear, just slammed on my face. And Howard's like, "What are you watching? What are you?" And I turned around, and I must look like the Joker or something, because I was just like, yeah. I felt not just hope, not just encouragement, not just, optimistic, not just, she's going to win. I mean, I felt like things could actually stop being so bad. And then it was over, and CNN was on the TV, and I heard the full report about Mark Robinson. And I told you yesterday there was a story flying around about him, and I didn't know exactly how bad it was going to be, but we did know that it had something to do with him posting on porn site message boards. I mean, listen, I don't know about you, but sometimes I wake up with anxiety, okay? And the anxiety is about various things that happen, like my most embarrassing moment, or shoulda, woulda, coulda, or whatever. And, I have to talk myself out of it and say, it's not real. This is just, this is your mind racing. You're a smart girl. You have a lot of thoughts all at once. Just deal with it, cope and deal, and just move on, get up, get out, do stuff, get your mind off of whatever is, how in the world could somebody be posting on a porn message board as a married man who's running for office, okay, as a devout Christian, an anti-abortion, anti-choice Christian, and know that your wife has had an abortion, that you're addicted to porn, that you're a perv and a peeper, and that you're posting your predilection for weird porn having to do with transgendered sex as your preference, and not wake up every day with like massive anxiety that somebody's going to find that. How do they do it? This is what I'm saying. It's a superpower, the shamelessness with which they approach their lives. You know, when you have anxiety, like I just denoted for you that I have on occasion, it's because you have shame, and like your most embarrassing moment, you feel ashamed of it. You know, you're like, oh, I was embarrassed by that. They're not embarrassed by anything. They're not ashamed of anything. There's nothing that they can't deny they did, so that if they ever got caught doing that thing, but you know, it's kind of predictable, and it's almost always hysterical in this weird way. It's always the most devout, closeted members of our society, our communities, that are the most hateful homophobes. It never fails. It's always the truth. It's always what you need to know when you hear people trashing other people's life. When you hear people having very, very strong opinions about who this person is married to, or who this person is raising children with, or who this person is in love with, or who this person wants to marry. When you have a very, very strong opinion about that, it's probably because you wish you could be that person. And you can't, for whatever reason. And so you hide it. And you suppress it. And then you project that hatred, which is really self-loathing, because you're not brave enough, you're not badass enough, you're not confident enough, you're not kind enough to yourself even to live to your full God-given potential. Because you keep telling us God doesn't make mistakes, and I got to believe that that's true, right? So how could it be a mistake? It can't, okay? But this Mark Robinson stuff is so gross. It's so low. I mean, everything from calling himself a black Nazi, meaning he said, in 2012, on a porn message board, just consider the story, okay? He's posting on a porn message board called Nude Africa. Okay, I mean, this is real niched out stuff, okay? And so he found his little home there, and he made his home. And he's talking to other members, I guess, of this, Nude Africa porn community. And he's posting on there that, he hates Barack Obama so much that he would be happier with any Nazi from Nazi Germany than this. And I can't even say, because we're still on terrestrial radio stations. And you can't curse on Free Speech TV, where, by the way, it's double match day. I'll get there. Double match day. You know what that means? Two people will match your dollar for dollar. Okay. But the idea that he's posting that he's a black Nazi because he would be happier with anybody from Hitler's administration over Barack Obama or any of the, and I can't say the word, crap, let's say, in Washington, D.C. today. And yeah, that makes him a black Nazi. He calls himself a black Nazi. Same year, he actually posts again on that same porn site message board that he believes slavery wasn't a bad thing. He thinks slavery wasn't bad. He doesn't understand why people think it was bad. He wishes that they would bring it back because he would buy some. And, those are the things that you can say out loud.
All things Randi at RandiRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
This is Martin Luther King on steroids. I think you're better than Martin Luther King. I think you are Martin Luther King times 2. One of the great stars of the party, one of the great stars in politics, Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson. I'm a great supporter of his. You're incredible, Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson. This is a hot politician. Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson. A real star, great guy, friend of mine, Mark Robinson.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know where they even find them. You know, you always knew that this hypocrisy existed in the Republican Party, right? You always knew, like, Fat Denny Hastert was, molesting boys, right? You know, we all knew that, Jim Jordan is not, it's GYM Jordan, right? We all knew he has problems. He's got issues. He's got things going on, right? Everybody knows it. But, I've never seen let's say, president of the United States or a former president of the United States or somebody running to be president of the United States calling somebody like that up on stage and partnering with them in the hypocrisy of the Christian, uber Christian, the women's got to be punished for abortion, even though you're a sexual predator and so is he. And why do they find each other like this? I mean, birds of a feather, do something together, apparently. It's gross. It's just beyond the pale. It's just the grossest thing ever. I mean, they used to be, just below, the line for people to, know really what they were about. But now they're being called up on stage. Now they're being, loved on.
There's got to be like an evil database, like an amoral LinkedIn that they are finding each other on. It is uncanny.
Yeah, it's called Nude Africa.
And by the way, it is flat offensive how much Donald Trump mentions MLK. It's just offensive.
Oh, I mean, listen, there's a guy who, he thinks that, people who have died in service to this country are still alive. Frederick Douglass, for instance. I think he was looking for Frederick Douglass in a crowd one day. Remember that? Frederick Douglass, are you here? Stand up, Frederick. I mean, just crazy crap. These are really phony people. That's what other word could you use? Weird? Yes. Phony? Of course. Hypocritical? Definitely. But phobic. Do you know what I mean? Like totally afraid of what you are, who you are, to the point where you literally trash people who are what you are because it's unconscionable to you that people could be free being what you are. It's sad. It's really sad. But, I mean, he's still denying it, and yay us. Okay, yay us. Why? Well, last night I told you when the story started percolating yesterday, I realized something must be up with a deadline or something must be going on with being a viable candidate in North Carolina because early voting started today in various places. Virginia started early voting. I think South Dakota started early voting. I know 3 states started early voting today. A lot of absentee ballots are being sent out today. And so whoever's on the ballot, you would think is on the ballot, right? And that's true. However, there is in North Carolina, there was yesterday, 12 o'clock midnight last night was the cutoff for saying I'm not running, for canceling your candidacy, right? Even though your name would still be on the ballot, you would not be eligible to receive the votes. The Republican Party would then appoint somebody else or choose somebody else to receive any of the votes that were cast for you, right? For you. This is what happens when a candidate dies, right? And so sometimes when a candidate dies, their wife will, in their stead, take the votes and then go serve the dead candidate's term. I mean, it happens. So last night was indeed, I hate that word, it was actually the last possible second for Mark Robinson to withdraw his name from consideration. Yes, of course, it would still be on the ballot, but the Republican Party could pick somebody else. So everybody was hoping, and by everybody I mean Donald Trump and the Republican Party, were all hoping that he would be able to read the writing on the porn site, and that he would be able to know they had him dead to rights, okay? And the crap that's in, I mean, I can't say it. I honestly can't tell you half of the crap that's on there because it's something that, would have to be bleeped. It's really gross. It's really disgusting. I will just say that he's a perv. He calls himself a perv. He knows he's a perv. He's always known he's a perv. And he knows that he is a hater. He knows that he is an anti-Semite. He knows he's a racist. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. He's black and he hates black people. He hates Martin Luther King. Hates him. Called him a communist. Called him a whole bunch of things, but called him a racial slur. I can't even, I can't say it. But called him a racial slur. Said he was a commie. Like I'll just say hua effing slur. I mean, disgusting stuff, right? Like, how could he not live in fear that somebody was going to see these messages? He uses, I mean, it's like your grandfather who uses the same password for every one of the sites he's on, doesn't know anything about strong passwords at all. It's like that. He uses the same handle and has forever. And his handle is like mini soldier, little soldier, tiny soldier. Yeah, this would explain a whole lot, right, about his soldier. But he uses this handle all the time. And the way they got him dead to rights is on his Facebook page, he also uses the same handle. Okay, that could be coincidental. Because the guy who's posting on this porn site uses the same handle, is also from Greensboro, has been married to the same woman 18 years at one point in the postings, 21 years, 3 years later, 4 years later in the postings. But also the same guy from the same town with the same length of a marriage to the same woman also likes to review like drone helicopters. Do you know he likes to review products? And his special product that he always reviews is the remote helicopter. Okay. And he's all over the internet reviewing products, but especially the remote helicopter. So, I mean, wow, it would be just so coincidental, just like so amazing that, little soldier is out there doing those things. But that's how they were able to match that profile to him over and over and over and over and over again. So this was done by the CNN K-File. They do these deep dives into facts and people and hypocrisy. And they explained last night like how they did it and what they found. And so he's going to be on the ballot. And he refuses to accept that he got caught. He needs to sort of apologize to every Republican in North Carolina for doing this. He needs to apologize to his freaking wife. Not really. I mean, the two of them ran a not-for-profit daycare center, and they kept getting fined for not, training people and certifying them as childcare. People trained in, certified in, childcare. They just refuse to do it. And, I mean, it's the character.
Call in, connect. To speak to Randi, call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
All right, everybody, this is the fall Free Speech TV Pledge Drive. And as I previously mentioned, today is a double match day. That's enormous, okay? That's ginormous. So that means that there are two frontline funders that will match whatever you do today. So if you gave $10, somebody would give 10 and another person would give 10. So your $10 becomes $30 and on it goes. $100 is $300 and $1,000 is $3,000, right? It's an amazing, exponentially gigantic day for the pledge drive today for Free Speech TV. So please take advantage of it and see how far you can make this go, because days like this are few and far between. Just call 877-378-8669 and you will get a lovely person in Denver, Colorado, where Free Speech TV is. And they will be happy to explain and walk you through whatever it is, answer any questions you might have about Double Match Day. Visit us at freespeech.org if you know what it is and you're willing to just jump on in. You can do it there, or use your phone and text to 44321, 44321, the letters FSTV. You will, in exchange, get a secure link. You can make your donation that way. It will be matched twice on that link. If you wanted to do a recurring donation, you could do that too, because they're matching new recurring donations up to $3,000 all through the month of November. There's a lot going on here to help you help us. So thank you very much for your support. We truly, truly, truly appreciate it. Kevin in D.C.
Yes, good afternoon, Randi.
Hello, sir.
I have really quick have to tell you, whenever I'm blue, there's like a set of 10 things I think of that makes me crack up laughing. It includes Adam West doing the Batusi, a split screen of Little Richard and Pat Boone singing Tutti Frutti with with Boone looking as lame as you would imagine compared to Richard. And you are in that top 10. You may, I don't know if you can recall this, but and it's leading up to this Robin character, believe me. But remember when you were critiquing Bill the Shill O'Reilly's book, and he was reading it, and you're in the background completely gagging.
Yes. Oh yeah, I do remember that. That was back in Air America. I was in New York. Yeah.
Yes, and that instantly, even all these years later, I can't do it the way you did, but you are literally, you can hear you gagging, and that cracks me up.
Yeah.
And that leads to this character who talk about gagging. And again, it's not, as you've already indicated, I believe, it's not about what an adult, and if you can get someone consenting, how they get down.
Right.
You don't care.
No, it isn't.
It's the horrific hypocrisy. And
it's the self-loathing, I think, that we need to recognize in this yet again story of somebody that criticizes how you just so delicately put it, others get down. It's just, why do they have such strong emotions about others? I really can't explain it except to say self-loathing.
and he loathes himself in so many ways.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. He's not exactly a manly man. He's not a good-looking man. He has no game. His wife and him have ripped off every, not-for-profit that there was in North Carolina. He's just such a reprehensible person, and he has to know it,
And the list goes on. And the abortion thing, he's so against abortion. And his woman, of course.
She had one. Yeah, she did.
And can I say this? I belong to a tribe, as I call it, that has been demonized for a long time, and it's a tribe that Mr. Robinson, doesn't want to be a part of because he calls himself a block Nazi. Okay.
Yeah.
And so I usually loathe to blanketly categorize groups, but the MAGA party has finally exhausted my trepidation about doing that. Props to former Republicans who have left the party, so I can give them some props. But right now, if you support the Republican Party either directly or you do it by accepting, still voting for Trump and the other howler monkeys, then I'm sorry. I don't know how else to talk me down if I'm wrong, but I have no choice but to group you into one category because this man is a representative of how they are. It's like, and as you were joking, like earlier, do they go to a lab? If you were trying to do a top 10 and pick the winner of who's the most disgusting, you can.
It's like a John Waters movie. You know what I mean? Like it's a race to the bottom, right? Who's the most disgusting couple on the planet, right? This is really the contest. All that's missing is him going into the street and picking up something from a dog. That's it. That's kind of where we are. It's like all that he could have posted that would have been worse than what he actually did was, "Gee, Mom, I always knew you'd be the best." Do you know?
Ew, but true, but ew.
I know. Well, thanks. I appreciate you. I really do. But see, this is what Oprah was trying to say last night in her Oprah-ish way, okay? In her non-judgmental way, in her her non-critical way. Her, hey, there's, the water's good. Come on in. It's all good in this pool. Come on in. I'm an independent. You could join. That's what she was doing last night, and I felt so good watching that. And then I turn it on, and there's Idiot Boy, with his big bald head, sitting there denying, "These are not my words. This doesn't sound like Mark Robinson." And why do they always talk about themselves in the third person?
Even as a child, when I got caught red-dead, no way out of it handed, I wasn't stupid. No, Daddy, no, Mommy, I didn't do it. Yes, the cookie dough was smeared all over my mouth, but no, I didn't do it. At that point, I knew it was up, and I took my punishment.
Right.
And that was at 4.
Right. I know. It's a shame. It's a crying shame that these are grown ass people. Okay, it really is. And Donald Trump last night, he just downshifted into anti-Semitism too. He was supposed to be doing a thing, an anti-Semitism thing, and he ended up being completely anti-Semitic. He told every Jew in that audience that if he doesn't win, he blames Jews. He blames you. I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. They can't help themselves.
I didn't believe that the Twilight Zone was real,
but
now I do.
Yeah.
You're in it.
I know. It's like go to the cornfield, you know. Take care, Kevin. I really enjoyed you. Thank you.
You too.
Okay. Bye. Seriously, dude, it's so twisted. It's so bizarre. I mean, and let's not pretend we don't know what it is. Do you know, we all know. We're all grown adults here, you know. This is a man who truly will never admit, even though he got caught doing the do. It's him. It's him. It's his handle. He put his real profile on there. He put his real name on there. People were calling him Mark. Dog with a hair lip. Mark. You know, they knew it.
This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
I just want to say, for all of you watching who are still on the fence, you're in the middle, you're independent as I am, or whether you're just still don't know what you're going to do. This is the moment for all decent people, all caring people who want the best for yourself and you want the best for other people. This is the moment for people who are tired of all of the bickering and all of the name calling, people who are exhausted by the craziness and the made up stories and the conspiracies. This is the moment. You want to get on with your life because you know that we can do better and that we deserve better. You know this.
Yes.
I know you know this. I know you feel this. I know this is what you're saying amongst yourselves. It's in all the conversations that we're having, that you're having. And we're better than this. We're better. We're better. And we want to create a world where our children will be safe in school again. And as my friend and mentor Maya Angelou always said, when you know better, you got to do better. Thank you. So let's do better and vote for Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris! Unite for America! I love her. You might think I'm strange and weird. I don't really care. But every good, decent thing I learned about character, I learned from Oprah. Yep. And the Air Force, you know, like that. But, yeah, I needed that last night. I really did. And then all of a sudden, you know, you turn around and we're back to chaos and we're back to, lunatic fringy stuff. We're back to Donald Trump saying, if I don't win, it's the Jews' fault. I swear to God, it was so sick. It was so anti-Semitic. And he was at an event where he was supposed to be drawing attention to anti-Semitism in order to fight it. And instead, he was it. He can't help himself. And then listening to, more, pervy sexual deviants get off on things that they want to make illegal or they want to make, shameful or they want to make, big, Twitter feeds about how ugly it is, whatever it is. I mean, these are some self-loathing mofos, okay? That is who it is. That is what it is. That is what it's about. And that is, why they all find each other. And they all pretend that they're different than they are. And so it is time for all decent people. Now, I'm telling you this because he's going to be on the ballot. And North Carolina is pivotal. It is so freaking important. And so yesterday when I saw this story, I went, interesting. You know, a couple things are going on the East Coast right now that I think you should know. Not that you should rely on them. Don't rely on anything because it's going to get real hinky, real janky.
Profitable.
It already is in Georgia, okay? Georgia, I got to tell you they have this new election board in Georgia that is full of, it's a 5-person election board. It's 3 Trump election deniers, 3 people that do not accept the results of the free and fair election that happened almost 5 years ago at this point, okay? And so today there was a vote 3-2. Guess which 3? To require that Georgia count all the ballots by hand. By hand. You're talking like 5 million ballots to be counted by hand. And just so you know, the machine count is more accurate than a hand count. Hand counts, they leave a lot of error and room for mistakes. You know, people count something twice, or they're counting and 2 pieces of paper stick together and the one ballot doesn't get counted, and the numbers then don't match. So the machine number doesn't match with the hand count number, and I promise you the machine count is the accurate one, right? But anyway, there's a lot of stuff going on like that in Georgia, but North Carolina obviously is now in play, and if Kamala should actually secure the electoral votes in North Carolina by winning the majority of the votes in North Carolina, there is no path for Donald Trump that I can find that would get him to 270 without North Carolina. And the other thing that's very interesting is Florida is in play. And I said that was a thing that I thought could happen back when DeSantis' death sentence actually said, we're going to have ourselves a 6-week abortion ban before anybody even misses, their period, okay? You don't even know you're pregnant. And he's saying that's the cut. And I knew. And so then we were able to get on the ballot an amendment to the Florida Constitution. We got over 1 million signatures. They challenged that. They're still challenging that. But people are pissed, okay? They really are. They can't wait to get out there. They can't wait to just, get this over with from what I can sense. And this is freaking Florida that I'm sitting in, okay? But people are ready. I think they're ready to end this stuff because I really do believe the overwhelming feeling, even with the low information voter, is exhaustion. Like everyone I talk to, and I've told you some of the things people say to me, and they're not hostile or anything like that. It's just misinformed, disinformed, out of context, little flotsam and jetsam details of this story or that story, like the why was Biden wearing a Trump hat thing. But what they also tell me is they want this over with. They know exactly that they don't want him, and they know exactly that they're exhausted, they're sick of it, they're sick of the commercials, and that that we have commercials on in Florida. Told me that Florida is in play somewhat, but now it looks like we're really in play. Like 5 points for Kamala in play, like 5 points ahead in Florida for Kamala Harris. So I don't want you to rely on any of this. I just want you to feel optimistic when all this news comes out about how disgusting and disgraceful their candidates are. And we let some of them slip through. We did. That's how we ended up with J.D. Vance. We should have had Senator Tim Ryan from Ohio. You would have been very happy, Springfield. You would not have been under threat. The people in Springfield, they're a perfect example. Perfect. Okay? They're telling you 8 days ago we didn't have any of this racism in our community. Springfield, Ohio was it was a stopping point for the Underground Railroad, and they're very proud of their history in Springfield. They know that they have been a very welcoming community to people who were not welcomed in other places. They know that when we don't hire Irish was a thing, The Irish went to Ohio to work because they would hire Irish. Same thing for Italians. When they were saying, you come out here with your, greasy hair to our nice, clean country, Springfield, Ohio was saying, come here. Come here. You guys are like so welcome here. Do the work that you know how to do. You're craftsmen, you're artists. We welcome you here. And the same thing's going on with Haitian Americans now who are there legally. And you got J.D. Vance yesterday saying that what was legally done by virtue of our laws giving temporary protected status to a group of people whose home country is a hellhole in which you cannot live right now. And so our federal laws allow for giving the people who come from places like that temporary protective status, which is what the Haitians in Springfield are enjoying right now. J.D. Vance is telling you that that's illegal, and you don't have to observe illegal orders given by, I don't know, Kamala Harris, which makes no sense because it had to have been by Congress, right? It's a law. The president, the vice president obviously makes no law. It's just not possible. But he's very busy, and we shouldn't have had him. The only reason why we have him is because Trump endorsed him the same way that Trump campaigns for Mark Robinson.
I just want to thank everybody, whatever you can do to help Mark and Yolanda win this election. He's got a tough opponent, not a good opponent, but a tough opponent, a political person, and it's not going to be that easy. He's a star, but a lot of times people say, well, this is going to be easy for him, and then they forget to vote. They don't go out to vote. You got to get out and vote, but you got to help him financially because you are all people that have a lot of money. I know 20 of you, and you're rich as hell. So anything you are going to do, it quadruple it. It doesn't mean it's just, But let's go. Somebody that we have to be very, very careful. We have to cherish. We have to cherish Mark. He's a star. You have to cherish him. Amen. It's like a fine wine because that's what you have. You have a fine wine. He's an outstanding person. I've gotten to know him so well and fairly quickly.
You have to cherish him. Maybe you knew that Donald Trump said you're rich as hell and I need for you to, give money. But maybe you didn't realize it was for Mark Robinson.
Mary had a little man. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon.
I have a dream today.
Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Help is on the way.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show. Turn up your mind.
The real world.
Amber's mother, Shanette, and older sisters CJ and Andrika are here, and they wanted to be here tonight to speak out for the first time. Ms. Shanette, what do you want us to know about Amber's story?
Initially, I did not want the public to know my pain. I wanted to go through in silence, but I realized that it was selfish. I want y'all to know Amber was not a statistic. She was loved by a family, a strong family. And we would have done whatever to get my baby, our baby, the help that she needed. When ProPublica came to my home, I pushed them away. No, but Kavithia, she was persistent. She said, it was something that you needed to know. You have to hear me. Women around the world, people around the world need to know that this was preventable. 2 years later, after speaking with my daughters, because I lost strength, I lost hope. You're looking at a mother that is broken. Mm-hmm. The worst pain ever that a mother, that a parent could ever feel, her father and myself and the family, you're looking at it.
Well, we appreciate so deeply you being here.
And that's the real world. This is Trump world.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to enter into the record an article from Newsweek that tells the truth about Amber Nicole Thurman, who died after taking abortion pills. She did not die for the lack of abortion. She died because of abortion. Abortion pills are what led to her death. And this has been a lie that has been told by the Vice President, Kamala Harris, and this is a lie being told by Democrats. This Georgia woman died from abortion pills. So thank you. I'd like to enter
without objection.
This is who they are. And when they show you who they are, believe them. Believe them. She was denied care for 20 hours. She just needed a DNC, a simple, very rote, very routine. Every single family on this planet knows what a DNC is. Every woman knows what a DNC is. Most men who are married to women, and even those who aren't, know what a DNC is, and that it is used very commonly after miscarriage and also after abortion if the uterus isn't completely evacuated of tissue. Sorry, that's what it is. And Marjorie Taylor Greene, in Trump world, in her little, protected bubble, feels emboldened to sit there as a sitting Congresswoman and say that Amber's family is lying, ProPublica lied, Kamala Harris is a liar. Amber didn't die because they refused to give her medical care after she had become septic, because she didn't clear her uterus completely of tissue and needed a DNC, a very common, ordinary, day-to-day, done-everywhere procedure in Georgia, because the doctors were afraid she wasn't close enough to death's door to invoke the exception to save the life of a mother. So they let her get really, really, really sick, really septic, to the point where it wasn't a DNC anymore. Now it was open abdominal surgery. And she was so septic, she had so much bacteria that her heart stopped. Couldn't survive the operation. And the board of directors, the medical community at the hospital, ruled her death was preventable and that it was their delay that caused her death. And yet Marjorie Taylor Greene has absolutely no shame in sitting there and saying, they're all lying. Amber died from abortion. Well, if that's the case, you know how many women are going to now die from abortion? Because you've made it an ugly word. You've made it illegal. And most of the women who seek abortion already have children for whom they'd like to stay alive for. Amber's one of the women. The other one is the Candy girl. Her name was Candy Miller, I believe. And she was a 41-year-old woman with three children, who was diabetic, diagnosed with lupus, and 41 years old, and was told, that a pregnancy would not be an ideal situation for her to survive. And she was pregnant and needed to stay alive for those other three children. And they refused her care too, and she died. So, real world, Trump world.
1 in 3 women in America lives in a state with a Trump abortion ban. This includes Georgia and every state in the South except Virginia. Think about that when you also combine that with what we know has been longstanding neglect around an issue like maternal mortality. Think about that when you compound that with what has been longstanding neglect of women in communities with a lack of the adequate resources they need for health care, prenatal, during their pregnancy, postpartum.
Yep.
Think about that. And these hypocrites want to start talking about this is in the best interest of women and children. Well, where you been? Where you been when it comes to taking care of the women and children of America? Where you been? How dare they? How dare they? Come on.
Yeah, and this issue, especially in Georgia, where Kamala Harris is today, to talk to, the Southern women, the Southern men, the Southern families who want to stay alive for their existing children. She's there to explain to them how 1 in 3 women are now living in a state with a Trump abortion ban, and we're beginning to die. We're beginning to die. And they know the quality of their candidates in the South, okay? They've already seen what's, percolated to the top, the cream of their crap. And they know they can't win legitimately, and they've known this for really quite some time. And I think I've been very adamant about telling anybody who comes at me or to me for advice about MAGA, don't worry about MAGA. MAGA doesn't pick the president. Undecided voters, independent voters, voters that aren't enthusiastic, that don't show up, those are the voters that pick the president. About 10,000 people in Georgia will pick the president. About 11,000 people in Wisconsin will pick the president. Same in Michigan, Nevada, Arizona, Florida. That's who picks the president, okay? And so Kamala is out there telling people, this is the moment. It's time. It's go time. We're dying now. And the other message that I want to give today is they are going to cheat.
All things Randi at RandiRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
If this don't send a chill down your spine, you're not alive.
Supreme Court, you appointed 3 justices. I mean, it was a massive triumph for your administration in 4 years. It led to giving the states the rights to decide whether abortion should be limited or not. In a second term, anybody on the top of your list for that?
I have a lot of people that I think about. I've gotten to watch judges very closely. And yeah, I do. I have a lot. And we could get to appoint another 1 or 2, maybe. But I do watch that very closely. And some judges I have great respect for, great respect. I'm very proud of the people I appointed.
The idea that he would get to appoint another Supreme Court justice or 2, which is what he's, talking about there. And that, of course, he would pick, the cray-cray one down here in Florida that dismissed the documents case, which was a straightforward case, because she decided that their special counsel statute doesn't meet constitutional requirements. We've had special counsels in this country since the Civil War. So, these are the people he's talking about. I'm watching them closely, and there are some that I really respect. Aileen Cannon, he did everything there but name her. People that find for him and help him delay the day of reckoning that is coming for him. So that's what he's talking about there, okay? And then on the other side of the world, where reality is actually setting in, Kamala Harris was on a stage today in Georgia explaining
Trump and his running mate. And they'll talk about, oh, yeah, but I do believe in the exception to save the mother's life. Okay, all right, let's break that down, shall we? Let's break that down. Let's break that down. So we're saying that we're going to create public policy that says that a doctor, a healthcare provider, will only kick in to give the care that somebody needs if they're about to die? Think about what we are saying right now. You're saying that good policy, logical policy, moral policy, humane policy is about saying that a healthcare provider will only start providing that care when you're about to die? And so Amber waited 20 hours. 20 hours. Excruciating hours. Until finally she was in enough physical distress that her doctors thought they would be okay to treat her. But it was too late. She died of sepsis. And her last words to her mother, which her mother, as you know, tears up and cries every time she speaks it. Last words to her mother, promise me you'll take care of my son.
I mean, it shocks me to hear the reaction from the audience that they don't know the story quite yet. But you need to know the story yet. You need to know it now. You need to know in this moment that we are starting to die. And people like me who have been arguing, listen, I'm very lucky. I have an audience that has, been with me forever. I have an audience that came on board in, 2004, got audience members that go back to 1992 with me. I got audience members that just came on board just recently with the free speech TV, distribution that we are lucky enough to have, right? But you all know that I have always said that women will die. And that is why you stay out of the conversation when it comes to abortion. You just stay out of it because a doctor and the woman who is facing the consequences of a pregnancy that is unwanted or went sideways or is terminal, or the woman is unhealthy and didn't want to be pregnant, the woman who has some sort of a disease where her body would be taxed to the limit and she might die from an additional pregnancy, and she already has children that she loves and cares for daily, stay out of it. And people said, it's not, they won't die. Women won't die. I don't know what you're talking about. They're not going to go back to the back alleys. Really? The back alleys came to them. The back alleys are now the hospital waiting room. The back alleys are now the hospital bathroom. The back alleys are now the hospital parking lot. And then you have guys like McEntee. You've got these freaking world heavyweight champion grotesque liars who say, you're making it up. It didn't happen. And there's Marge given a live assist from the official duties that require her to sit at a dais and testify to the world. And she chooses to lie and say that Amber didn't die from lack of care. She didn't die because Georgia healthcare providers were afraid that they would be criminally held responsible if they did an abortion, if they actually helped her not be septic anymore. And so they denied her care until she was at death's door, and it was too late. And in the end, the review of what went wrong was a preventable death of a young mother who had a 6-year-old son who she left behind. And her last words to her mother was, please take care of my son. Candy Miller, which we don't hear all that much about because she wasn't the first and she won't be the last. She died because she was not able physically to have a fourth pregnancy. Stay out of it. Stay out of it. Leave this one to the doctors. Leave this one to healthcare professionals. Leave this one to OBGYNs. The idea that in Texas, you could be in jail as a healthcare provider, as a doctor, okay, for helping a woman of in any situation where she's pregnant, you could go to jail for 99 years. What is wrong with people? What is wrong with them? Control. That's it. That's all it's about. They can't control themselves, so they want to control you. It's what gives them a sense of being in control of some damn thing. When you look at Mark Robinson and his out of control behavior, posting on message boards for at least 4 years that we can track, okay, then becoming a lieutenant governor of the state of North Carolina, and standing up there and using his bully pulpit to say some people just need to be killed, and that trans people are, they need to be killed, and that if a trans woman goes into a woman's bathroom, she needs to be killed, and then finding out that is his preferred thing to watch is trans people, as our lovely caller said, getting down. It just illustrates what I'm saying. They can't control themselves, so they need to control you.
Call in, connect. To speak to Randi, call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
All right, 35 after, and it is Friday, and it is the Free Speech TV Fall Pledge Drive. And it is a double match day, which means 2 frontline funders will match your donation. So you do 10, they do 10. 2 people do 10, so 10, and then 10 over here, and then 10 over there, $30. See what I mean? So your money goes very, very far today. Your donation, of course, is always important. Really, a $10 donation is always important, especially when we're not in a pledge drive. But now that we are in the frontline funders step up to match whatever you do, and today they do it 2 of them at a time, it's a day to really, really dig deep and see how much you feel comfortable with and do it to make it go as far as humanly possible. So $50 would be $150. You see what I mean? $100 is $300. $1,000 is $3,000. It's incredible how fast and exponentially the donations grow on a double match day. So call 877-378-8669 for your ease, or even easier, text to 44321. The letters FSTV, Free Speech TV, or even easier, freespeech.org. I know you're already online. And just click on the donate button, and it will be matched. It will be matched by 2 other people. So, again, double match day. Thank you. Brother David.
It's Frontline Funders Fabulous Freedom Friday, sister.
It's Freaky Friday.
And it's very Freaky Friday. A couple of takeaways from last night's wonderful thing.
Did you watch it?
A few more of them. Oh, of course. And of course, when Eleanor Roosevelt of acting showed up, I shrieked. But I had forgotten how much I miss the Oprah in that format.
Yeah, me too.
And real people and the actuality of it.
I know.
The second thing was, and this is just me, yesterday was the anniversary of the premiere of the Mary Tyler Moore Show. Remember, the Oprah really loves Mary Tyler Moore.
Yeah, well, who doesn't? Come on.
Exactly, and she who can turn the world on with her smile being there on the
Love is all around. No need to fake it. You could have the town. Why don't you take it? You might just make it after all. Oh, it gives me chills. That was my, young girl, I can do whatever I want to do song, right? I could be a DJ.
Right. Right. It's my favorite TV show of all time.
Oh, I love that show.
And the third thing, and it was very telling to me, real people and Amber's mom and the Latina mom whose son was killed or her child was killed in gun violence. Real people.
Yeah. Oh, she was exceptional.
She was like, amazing.
She was like, don't stop. You need to hear this. You need to hear this. I mean, it was magnificent.
Very powerful.
Because that is the real world, and it's full of real people, just like you, just like me, trying to do the best we can do. That is what the world is. And this country is full of people just like that every single day, who are just trying to do the right thing when no one's looking, and then someone comes and shoots their son in kindercare.
Precisely. And that was why it was very telling to me when her virility called her President Harris. But then she brought up, what happens when you win and it doesn't accept it? And I loved what Kamala said. You know they're already prepping for that.
And what
is preventable about it is that the 1/3 of us that tends to sit out presidential elections need to get off our butts and vote.
Yeah, and that's what I keep saying too, but I say it in a slightly different way, but it's the same message, right? Don't let it be close. It cannot be close. You have a right to vote if you're a citizen in 18, okay? Don't sit it out. Don't think someone else is going to carry your power for you. It doesn't work like that. And if it's close, they're going to try everything in the illegal book. The most important thing that they will do is what Donald Trump is doing now with these court cases. They will delay certifying. They will delay counting. They will delay the results. That's what's going on in Georgia with this, fake election board that just suddenly. And there is a thing where it's the 90-day. No new rules period, okay? We're in that 90 days no new rules period because you can't train election workers. You can't train poll workers in new rules now. Well, Georgia yesterday decided to go with 11 new rules that apply to counting the votes, which is where all the shenanigans occur. It's where the dark magic occurs. It's not at the polling place, It's like
it's after.
Yes, it's who does the counting. That's when they all come in.
It's not who votes; it's who counts the votes.
That's right. And that's when they all come in their khakis and start banging on the supervisor of elections window and says, "Let us in, let us in." This is what they're prepping for.
Still more of us, sister.
Just remember, it's very easy to vote, and nothing bad is going to happen at the polling place. It's going to happen at the counting rooms, like it always does.
Last thing I want to tell you, I'm volunteering for Harris Waltz for Kansas, and one thing that I find very telling is that areas, and I'll even say its name, that had Trump-Pence signs the last two cycles, there's not a Trump sign to be seen, but there is Harris Waltz, obviously, and Harris Waltz 2024. And this is in Kansas.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Are you in Lawrence or someplace more?
I'm in Lawrence. No, I'm in Lawrence.
Well, there's a chance in Lawrence,
Yes, of course. We're the blue bubble in a red with purple splotches state.
Yeah, Omaha has that one district too, And you know what they're trying to do in Omaha, just so you know? They're trying to make winner take all in all of Nebraska so that Omaha has instead of winner take all, which is the case in almost every state except Maine and Nebraska, right? They have this one little district that has one lousy electoral vote, right? And it usually goes to the Democrats. It's a blue bubble in the red state of Nebraska.
Right, where I live. Yeah.
So they're trying to get rid of that now, and they want it to be winner take all so that they don't even have the one little tiebreaker vote, right? In Nebraska. They are totally into cheating now. And it's clearly because it's clearly because their candidates suck and their policies are worse, which is hard to do.
It's true. That's why it has to be a blue tsunami. Yeah. Stunning stilettos, perfect pearls, snazzy sneakers, and gorgeous girdles for everyone.
I love it, everybody, and not just for some. I saw a really cute T-shirt. It's not anything I made, but it had, it's just a T-shirt, and it had pearls printed on it and Converse, and it said cultured pearls and Chucks. Yeah, it said pearls and Chucks. That's what it said, pearls and Chucks. It was just very cute.
Asani mentioned in his phone call that he saw less Trump signs in Michigan. Now we've got Brother David calling in saying there's less signs in Kansas. And I don't know about you, Randy, but I've seen a lot less signs here in Florida. Less, on the bridges, the big gatherings on the bridges in front of the Home Depot.
That.
You have seen it still? Because I've seen a lot less of it here.
I saw it. But Asani was saying Kalamazoo. He was saying that Kalamazoo used to have Trump signs everywhere. But now the nice green lawn houses, the well taken care of houses, have Harris Waltz signs on them, which was very encouraging. Brother David's very encouraging. I'm telling you, I think Florida's in play. They're still out there, the crazy, overpass. I don't know if you've seen this, but there's people on overpasses, and they all have Trump sign, giant ones, and they hang them over the highway, so that you have to flip them off or something, aggressive. But they're there.
The This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
Here's my life hack for all of you, all the guys out there, whatever. Here's my life hack. Surround yourself with smart women and listen to them, and you'll do just fine. You'll do just fine. That includes my fellow cat owner, Taylor Swift, too, by the way. It's really great to have all of these women help us beat the smallest man in the world, Donald Trump.
Mini Soldier, or whatever his handle was, they self-confess, okay? They self-ID themselves. So you know who's going to give you the worst 13 seconds of your life on a Friday night. So, listen, they are the smallest men on the planet. There's no doubt about it in every which way. And that is why I give you the warning. I'm going to say it every single day for the next 40 whatever days we have left. By the time we come back on Monday, it's going to be, almost a month. Okay, just a month left. 7 weeks this week, so 6 weeks next week. And they're going to cheat, and they're not going to do it at the polling place. I will say, kudos to a lot of my friends, especially Howard. Howard, went to the training to be an observer, a watcher at the polling place. I'm doing the online training, and then I realized I have to work that day. What am I doing? But I just wanted to do something so bad. But that's not, in my judgment, where the problem's going to be. The problem is always going to be who counts the votes. It always has been. It's a Soviet, sort of a joke. It doesn't matter how many people vote. It just matters who counts the votes. It's, Putin's playbook. And it's at play here. It's actually happening here. The best example I can give you is this Georgia one, this fake election board that they set up. It's they're calling themselves the Georgia State Election Board, okay? They won't follow the law that the Georgia legislature has passed and that the Georgia governor has signed into law. They're making up their own rules in violation of Georgia state election law. Shocking, I know, considering Donald Trump was on the phone begging them to find him 11,780 votes, just one more than Joe Biden has. So now they're baking it into the result, right? That they will have tools that they did not have when they were looking to overturn the results of the election in Georgia. But this time they want to have the tools. And the best tool that they have is delay. And so how do they delay the results from Georgia? They delay the results from Georgia by insisting that each and every ballot must be hand counted. Do you know how long that's going to take? Do you have any idea? That's like the scene in Casino where De Niro goes to the chef and complains about the number of blueberries in his muffin versus the number of blueberries in Tommy's muffin, right? And he says he wants an equal number of blueberries in all the muffins. And the chef says, do you know how long that's going to take? Because when you do anything at scale, it takes like an inordinate amount of time to make each and every tabulation by hand. Machines are very good at it. But this is what they want. It's an unnecessary burden on the election offices. It's also illegal under Georgia's law. However, they are enacting 11 new rules, okay? 11 new rules just 40-something days ahead of an election in Georgia. Now, there is something, it's called the 90-day quiet period, and it is something that almost every one of us takes for granted in our states, that our state isn't going to, ahead of an election, 90 days ahead of an election, that they're going to upend the procedures for certifying an election or for voting or for mailing in or for absentee or for any of it, right? Well, that's typically the rule. But this is, what Georgia wants to do. And why do they want to do it? They want to do a hand count, which is less accurate. Compare it to the machine count, which is more accurate. And when they don't match, because there's human error involved in the hand count of 5 million votes and no human error involved in the machine count of human error counting 5 million votes, they will say they don't match and they will contest it, and that will delay certification. That's one way to delay it, okay? Then you'll have litigation. That's another way to delay it. Hand counting 5 million ballots could actually take, I'll tell you what happened in Maricopa County in Arizona. They had to do an audit. Do you remember that? Donald Trump hired, what were they called, like election geeks or something? They had no experience in election fraud, none whatsoever. Do you remember? And they had to hand count 2.1 million ballots in Maricopa County. You remember how long that took? This was after 2020. 2 months. It took 2 months to do 2.1 million. So 5 million figure would take 4 months. Now we're in the month of December. We're well into December. Well, you know what's fixed in law. December 17th. Mark it down, know it, learn it now. December 17th is the day that the Electoral College actually casts their ballots. They cast their ballots for whoever their state chose. Whichever slate of electors was chosen by a majority of the votes in any state, they then cast their ballots for that candidate. Okay? December 17th. It's a very important day. It's not fungible. It can't change. It's written in law. It's part of the Constitution. It's a thing. January 6th is the thing, too. That's the day that the Electoral College's cast ballots are received by the House of Representatives and certified, and that then the election is over. So these are two very important dates. Well, what Donald Trump knows how to do is delay. And if he's successful, and these election frauds that are taking over, naming themselves election boards in various swing states, if they have their way, will they be able to overturn an election? I'm not sure. But can they delay the certification? Yes. And if it goes past December 17th, then what? Well, then we're in a constitutional crisis. See what I mean? So this is what Donald Trump knows how to do. Delay. Now, the Georgia thing, the 11 different rules that they are changing right now that are happening, in the quiet period. And it's not even 90 days. It's 40-some days, okay? We're much closer than 90 days, which is 3 months, right? We're only, 6 weeks out, a month and a half. And they're declaring themselves no head shall be higher than mine in violation of the state law. So that's going to get litigated, right? All of this goes to courts, you understand. And what he knows is how to delay. And if you can delay past December 17th, we're in trouble. So just know you must not allow this to even be close. And this is the reason why. This is one of many reasons why. But when it's close, they will contest. When it's close, they will delay. When it's close, they won't certify right away. When it's close, it could actually be delayed so long that it creates a constitutional crisis. And that is what we don't want, okay? Now, I will tell you this right up front. In Georgia, state law doesn't allow for hand counting ballots at the precinct level. It just doesn't. It's not allowed. And so the litigation would succeed. But if they can delay it long enough, you see what I'm saying? It doesn't matter who's right. It doesn't matter who's wrong. It doesn't matter if it's legal. It doesn't matter if it's illegal. It doesn't matter if it's, anything. It doesn't matter if the candidate is so bad that this person has to lose. It doesn't matter, What matters is delaying. What matters is creating in people's minds the same big lie, the same illusion that something's being taken from them. And that makes people violent, as you know. But these election boards, all they're allowed to do is recommend things. That's it. But here they are changing it 40 days out. So just, gird your loins, everybody. Because if it's close, if people sit it out, if people, count on somebody else to use their power, it's going to get ugly. It's going to get contested. It's going to get delayed. It's going to get dicey. and you don't want it to be dicey. You want it to be a straight up early night. And the way that you can make it a straight up early night, North Carolina goes to Kamala Harris. Florida goes to Kamala Harris. Georgia goes to Kamala Harris in a big, meaningful, undeniable vote count, okay? Undeniable. We're not talking 11,000. We're not talking 12,000. We're talking 1 million votes. Yeah.